Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Credit Union Foundation's 15th Annual Herb Wegner Memorial Awards Dinner. Tonight, we'll be presenting the Individual Achievement Award, the Outstanding Organization Award, and the Lifetime Achievement Award. And now, to help make this an extra special night with our stars, please welcome President and CEO of the Washington Credit Union League and Affiliates, Mr. John Annaloro.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 15th Annual Herb Wegner Memorial Awards Dinner. It's indeed a pleasure for me to be up here. It's our night with the stars, and the credit union system does indeed have many stars. It's my privilege tonight to help the National Credit Union Foundation honor a very special few. We have a full evening, a full agenda. Let me begin by introducing the people who help lead this great organization, the 2003 Board of Directors of the National Foundation. So if you would please stand when I call your name, remain standing, and if everyone would hold their applause for just a moment. We'll start with Mary Cunningham, Vice Chair, Alan McMorris, the Treasurer, Francois Enriquez, Secretary, John Fiore, the immediate past Chairman, Jim Blaine, Larry Blanchard, Ed Callahan, yeah, all right, Dennis DeGroat, Tracy Kenyon-Carls, Sandy Lingerfeld, Bob Schumacher, Jane Willard, and of course, Jim Williams. And I'd also like to introduce two more important people, the President of the National Credit Union Foundation, Mr. Dan Micah, and Executive Director, Mr. Gary Officer. Please give them a warm round of applause, the whole group of them. There are four additional individuals I'd like to acknowledge, exceptional people who have recently stepped down from their tenure on the board, including Susie Brinkman-Doty and Ray Burnett, who are unable to be with us this evening. But we do have the talented Jim McCormick and, of course, former board chairman, Mr. Carl Stewart. Please join me in thanking these individuals for their stewardship, the volunteer leadership, their commitment on our behalf to the National Credit Union Foundation. You may have noticed I've left one name, one title out as I introduce the directors, and I'm very pleased to present the newly elected Chairman of the National Credit Union Foundation, Mr. Chuck Purvis, Senior Vice President, Strategic Business Officer, Coastal Federal Credit Union.
Thank you, John, and good evening, everyone. On behalf of the National Credit Union Foundation Board of Directors, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you tonight. And I am truly honored to be serving as the chairman of your National Credit Union Foundation. I want to begin my remarks by saying that an evening like this would not be possible without the support of our corporate partners. Indeed, their support goes well beyond the events of this evening, allowing us to fund innovative programming and grants in support of our mission to promote and improve consumer financial independence through credit unions. Without the following organizations in our corner, I assure you we would be a very different and much smaller foundation. In particular, I want to thank CUNA and affiliates, U.S. Central Credit Union, the CUNA Mutual Group, Liberty, the California Credit Union League, Card Services for Credit Unions, Certegy, and the Co-op Network. Thank you all for your valuable support. In addition, I'd like to draw your attention to our official event sponsors, who you will find listed on page 10 of your program booklet, as well as on signs you may have noticed earlier this evening. Thank you very much for your generosity and support of this evening's events. Another group I want to publicly thank are the credit unions, state leagues, and state foundations that have partnered with us on the Community Investment Fund. Thanks to all of you, the CIF stands at $155 million today. I had the honor of thanking our CIF investors of $1 to $5 million at a reception earlier this evening, and a little later I'll be recognizing those investors of $10 million and above. If you're sitting with any of these folks tonight or you see them later, please thank them for their support. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the corporate credit unions, and in particular U.S. Central. The contributions of the corporate network to CIF cannot be overstated. Quite literally, we could not do CIF without them. A moment ago, I mentioned that the mission of the National Credit Union Foundation is to promote and enhance consumer financial independence through credit unions. We do that primarily by funding innovative programs that target service to low and moderate income and underserved consumers. For example, last fall, we approved $25,000 for a startup community development credit union on Chicago's South Side. The organizers planned for this credit union to serve 11 specific low-income neighborhoods, not one of which has a bank or a credit union in it. Needless to say, there are plenty of financial service providers in the area: payday lenders, check cashers, and title loan companies, the kind of places that prey on the poor and financially illiterate. We believe that access to affordable financial services is the first step towards financial independence, and we are eager to watch the transformation of these Southside Chicago neighborhoods as residents learn that they have an alternative to these modern-day loan sharks. Another exciting project we're funding is the Latino Community Credit Union, which you will be hearing much more about later in the evening. We've chosen to fund this credit union in part to learn more about how to effectively serve the growing Hispanic market in this country. In just 3 years, more than 8,000 people have joined the credit union. Half of their $11 million in assets belong to individual members, and their 3-year goal of $2.8 million in outstanding loans was achieved 1 year early. We're currently in the second year of a 3-year grant to Latino Community Credit Union and look forward to sharing the many lessons we are learning with you in the near future. Another aspect of financial independence we're addressing is financial literacy. Our board recently approved funding of a program that will bring together a rescue mission, a credit union, and consumer credit counseling service in order to provide financial education and loan guarantees for people at risk for homelessness in Rapid City, South Dakota. We also approved funding for a financial literacy program targeted to Hispanics in Central Ohio. Through these two programs alone, we will be helping more than 900 low-income families begin their journey towards financial independence. As you can see, the programs of the National Credit Union Foundation are making an impact. And speaking of impact, it's safe to say that the National Credit Union Foundation made one last year with a successful application to the U.S. Treasury Department. Our award of $1.4 million from the First Accounts program will help 39 credit unions in 9 states reach a total of 20,000 unbanked consumers over the next 2 years. And that's just the beginning. In our role as the credit union system's financial intermediary, we will be actively seeking project grants numbering millions of dollars from the Departments of Housing and Urban Development, Health and Human Services, and Agriculture, all which operate programs that are designed to complement the kind of work that credit unions do. We believe that credit unions are the ideal vehicle for helping various departments of the government to achieve some of their own development goals. The National Credit Union Foundation has the knowledge, the experience, and the resources needed to manage those funds and grants that can be obtained from outside the movement. These are just a few of the examples of what we're doing in support of domestic development and improving the financial well-being of low to moderate income consumers everywhere. But I want to ask a question, to issue a challenge. What are you doing? Consumers today are facing mountains of personal debt. Bankruptcies are at record highs. According to a 2001 Census Bureau report, 6.8 million families were categorized as poor, or 9.2% of the U.S. population. Furthermore, according to a Consumer Federation of America study, which we funded last year, 25% of U.S. households are considered wealth poor, meaning they have net assets of less than $10,000. Credit unions do a great deal today to reach out to those individuals, but I think we can do more. Credit unions should be at the forefront of tackling barriers to consumer financial independence. We should all be looking for new and better ways to serve more people and improve our members' lives. We are, after all, ideally suited for such a task. Our cooperative structure and collective social mission, I would argue, demand it. We at the National Credit Union Foundation don't have all the answers. In fact, we'll be turning to you, the leaders of the industry, for ideas this spring as we announce that $500,000 is available for 5 regional projects that address service to low-income members and the problem of payday lenders. Next week, we will be issuing a notice of funding availability that explains the kind of projects we're looking for and how to submit proposals. Letters will be sent to our partners, including leagues, state foundations, corporate credit unions, and of course, our CIF investors, detailing the process. We know the projects are out there. We just have to identify them, and we need your help in doing that. And I encourage you to let us know if there are projects that you think would be worth considering for grants. I want to issue one more challenge before I conclude my remarks. Ours is an industry with billions of dollars in surplus funds, $200 billion to be specific. And as I mentioned, it's also an industry with an inherent social mission. The question is how to utilize those funds to make a truly big impact on creating financial independence among low and moderate income consumers. The answer, I believe, is the Community Investment Fund. This may sound crazy to some of you, but not those of you that know me. But with $200 billion in surplus funds, I believe the Community Investment Fund could and should grow to $1 billion. We have the resources. We need to make the commitment. At $155 million today, we obviously have quite a way to go. But we can get there, and I believe we can do it in the next 2 years with your support and your leadership. The funds generated from $1 billion in CIF investments would support $10 million in grants per year in the current interest rate environment, and double that amount when rates go back to where they were when the CIF was started. Imagine not only the impact of the grants that could be funded by that level of resources, but the message that that would send to Capitol Hill about the commitment of credit unions to serving the American public. The statistics I mentioned earlier, as well as the proliferation of payday lenders, are proof of the need, but we cannot do it without your help. I'm counting on you, our industry's leaders, to lead the charge. I want to be able to stand in front of you a year from now and announce that we're halfway home to that $1 billion goal. Now, I'm sure this will give you something to chat about over dinner, and I thank you for letting me say a few things about an organization that we all care so deeply about. And now for my last official act before dinner, I invite you to raise your glasses and join me in a toast to the National Credit Union Foundation, to all of our supporters, and especially to this evening's stars, Rufino Carbajal Jr., Latino Community Credit Union, and Ed Callahan. Cheers.
Thank you, Chuck. Give me the wine. The list of projects is very impressive. The mission of the foundation is equally as impressive. And I have an impressive task in that it's a tricky one. I need to introduce a man that needs no introduction. Let's see if you can guess. He's a former congressman from the state of Florida. He's president and CEO of the world's largest credit union trade association. He biggie-sized it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our friend and colleague, El Jefe Dan Micah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, John. Thank you. And isn't it great to be in Washington, D.C.? Yes? Now, some of you read my statement when you were coming to Washington, and it started out with spring is in the air. Now, you remember I'm a politician. Spring is in the air, not on the ground. So we had a little snow here, but we're glad you're here. And I will not give any speech this evening. I'm going to say a few hellos and thank yous in recognition of some dignitaries, and we'll be off to a quick evening, a wonderful evening, an exciting evening, and it will end early, I promise you. So let me just say this. First, in the audience, and I have no idea where you are, but representing a good ally, an honest broker in the consumer movement in America, the Consumer Federation of America, Representative Nancy Register. Nancy, are you out there? Stand up. Thank you for being with us. Also, representing the National Credit Union Administration, that means representing Dennis Dollar, Joanne Johnson, and in person, the wonderful regulator, Deborah Matz. Deborah? Debbie. And we did have, and I guess he's been delayed because of travel problems, Congressman Sylvester Reyes from Texas. But with us this evening are two of his chief staff assistants, Renee Munoz and Michael Jose Tora. Are you here? Please stand up. We'd love to recognize you. You know, Chuck didn't tell you the whole story. He mentioned that the Credit Union Foundation, which your presence here tonight indicates you support, which means that you believe in people helping people, and means, I hope, that you understand that the foundation is the heart of the credit union movement. That CIF fund just last year was only $50 million. A few folks in this movement said that's not enough. We don't want to wait 5 years, 10 years, 20 years at the rate of growth we projected to move it up. We're going to do it now. They're in this audience. I'm going to ask 3 of them to stand and be recognized for the work they've done to raise it from $50 million to $100 million in 1 year. Tom Doherty, Bucky Sebastian, and Tom Sargent. Are you there? Please stand up. And gentlemen, never, ever, since you can raise that much money, sit at the same table. And I'm going to tell you a quick story which is not in the script, 2 things that are not in the script. Do you all remember the movie? We use it in the credit union movement, The Wonderful Life. And there's it's the Jimmy Stewart movie, The Wonderful Life, and there's this wayward angel. And I think his name was Clarence. Is that right? Because it's not here. Because I've been trying to think of how to say this appropriately. These 3 did a good job. They did a superb job, an excellent job. But there was in the mix a fourth, a wayward angel. Somebody who really came up with the idea and really moved this thing forward. Somebody who wants no recognition. So for those of you who know, and those who don't and only can imagine, I want a special applause for the wayward angel. And lastly, and absolutely, truly off the script, I'm going to, as CUNA president, as the foundation president, after 7 years, I'm going to take a liberty and take 30 more seconds of your time. There's one person in this room, and there are probably dozens I should recognize, but there's one person I'd like to single out. We fought shoulder to shoulder together on Capitol Hill for H.R. 1151, the battle that we think saved the credit union movement. We headed organizations where we had our differences and we sometimes argued, but we became good friends. And in this time when we have people all over the world representing America and looking out for our interests in the military, there's no one a better friend. And I look back at the time with special feelings that I'd like to recognize the United States Marine Corps General Ken Robinson. Ken, you are a great friend. Thank you for being with us. Where are you, Ken? Thank you. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much.
Let me invite everybody to enjoy the company of those who are seated around you. The proceedings will begin right after dinner. Bye, everybody. Let's get this party started. We get everybody organized a bit. Okay, before we get to the presentation, he says, before we get to the presentation of this year's Herb Wegner Memorial Awards, the foundation would like to recognize a few very special organizations. So let me invite the Foundation Chairman, Chuck Purvis, and Executive Director, Gary Officer, on stage to help make these recognitions. Here we are. In 2002, the Foundation's Community Investment Fund received quite a boost, thanks to the donor-designated Ed Callahan Fund. In fact, with the addition of more than $103 million, the Callahan Fund has pushed the Community Investment Fund, the CIF, to over $155 million. Tonight we have the honor of recognizing those credit unions that have shown true leadership and dedication to cooperative development by investing $10 million or more in the Callahan Fund through CIF. To call them up, let me start with, from Belco Credit Union, Colorado, Doug Ferraro, President and CEO. From Orange County Teachers Credit Union in California, Rudy Hanley, President and CEO. From Patelco Credit Union in California, Andy Hunter, President and CEO. From Suncoast Schools in Florida, Tom Doherty, President and CEO. From Westcor, Bob Saravo, President and CEO. And not here, but recognized earlier, was BECU Gary Oakland, President and CEO in Washington State. In addition, there are 24 other credit unions that were recognized earlier tonight for their investments of $1 million or more in the community investment funds. You'll find their names listed on page 11 of the program book. And the National Credit Union Foundation would like to thank each and every credit union for those investments. Every dollar raised through the CIF goes right back out through grants that support the Foundation's mission to advance the economic well-being of consumers through credit unions. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in another round of applause for all the credit unions, the corporate credit unions, the foundations, the leagues, and everyone else that's made a contribution to the CIF. And now, more big hitters. And now, the National Credit Union Foundation would like to recognize 8 very special organizations who help the Foundation fulfill grant-making priorities through their generous corporate support, beginning with the National Credit Union Foundation's biggest benefactor, CUNA and Affiliates. And here to accept the award are CUNA Chairman Barry Gillette, President and CEO Dan Micah. The second donor at the corporate sponsor level is U.S. Central Credit Union. Not only does U.S. Central gift $100,000 each year to the Foundation, last year they underwrote the development of the Foundation's website and made a one-time gift of $600,000 in honor of Ed Callahan's retirement. Here to accept the Foundation's appreciation is U.S. Central President and CEO Dan Campen. The Foundation's third corporate sponsor, also at the $100,000 level, are our friends from CUNA Mutual. Here to accept the appreciation is Chairman of the Board, Jim Bryant. And the Foundation's newest $100,000 corporate benefactor, Liberty Enterprises. And accepting on behalf of Liberty is our friend, President and CEO Stan Holland. Good work, Stan. At the next level, we have the Chairman's Club, in which there are 4 organizations. The first is the California Credit Union League, and here to accept, League Chair Pat Wegner. Also at the Chairman's Club level is Card Services for Credit Union, and here to accept the recognition is Board Chairman Pat McGrady and President Bob Hackney. The final Chairman's Club supporter is Certegy, represented by Senior Vice President, General Manager for International Card Services, Vince Pavis, and Senior Vice President, General Manager for North America, our friend Bob Breen. And finally, at the leadership circle level, we are pleased to recognize the Co-op Network. And here to accept for the Co-op Network are Board Chairman Tom Sargent and President and CEO Bob Rose. There they are. You could hang. Maybe a couple hours. The foundation would like to extend their gratitude and their thanks to all these organizations for an incredible measure of corporate support. And in addition, I'd like to mention those organizations whose financial support have helped make this event this evening as special as it is. You've seen their names up on the screen. The corporate event sponsors at the platinum level for this evening include ACUL, the American Association of Credit Union Leagues, the Colorado Credit Union League, Empire Corporate, Fannie Mae, the Georgia Credit Union Affiliates, Texas Credit Union Foundation, and Westcor. The event sponsors at the gold level are the Association of Corporate Credit Unions, Fiserv, Harland, Mid-Atlantic Corporate, Ohio Credit Union Foundation, the Pennsylvania Credit Union League, and PSCU Financial Services. And last, at the silver level, American Share Insurance, Financial Service Centers Cooperative, FFCC, Georgia Central, the Montana Credit Union Network, and the Tennessee Credit Union League. May we have a round of applause for all of the foundation's wonderful sponsors. Now, we have a walk-on.
I'm Tom Doherty, and I received one of these awards, but I want to suggest something. Dan Micah earlier mentioned Clarence the Angel, and he didn't actually acknowledge who that person was, but I'm here to do that because I don't care. It's not. I've been waiting about 30 years to get this man back for a number of the things he's done to me. And by the way, angel is not the right analogy. When we started the Ed Fund, there was actually one person who started the idea and got it going, and who called me daily or weekly and bothered the hell out of me to make sure that we were getting it done. And I just want to make sure that he's recognized, and that man is the president of State Employees Credit Union, Jim Blaine, and he's right over here. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. It's not worth that anyway. And I'm sure I'm going to get something later on. I'm going to get a payback. But anyway, thank you for your time.
Tom, well done, well done. Now, I believe there's one final recognition before we get to the big event, and I believe that Foundation Chairman Chuck Purvis is going to do the honors. Chuck?
Thank you, John. It is my great honor and distinct personal pleasure to recognize a gentleman whose impact on the National Credit Union Foundation cannot be overstated. As a board member for the past 8 years, he has seen us transition from a relatively small, inwardly focused foundation to one that receives broad support, not only from the U.S. credit union movement, but also from the federal government and private foundations. Under his chairmanship, the Community Investment Fund was created, and our new identity, Keeping the Flame Burning Brightly, was born. As immediate past chairman, his knowledge and experience helped make the transition to an expanded board of directors a smooth and very successful one. And on a personal note, I cannot speak highly enough about his leadership abilities, and I am very grateful for what he has taught me over the past 6 years. Ladies and gentlemen, before he steps down from the National Credit Union Foundation Board of Directors to tackle new volunteer challenges, please help me thank our immediate past chairman for his years of service and dedication and hard work to the National Credit Union Foundation, Mr. Carl Stewart.
Wow, you can sit down now. For those who are still sitting down, you can stand up. Listen, it's been a great run. It was an 8-year run for me. At the time, we were a fledgling foundation, and look at us now. It really becomes very clear to me at this time that as I look out, this is not an industry. It's a movement, but better for me, it's a family. And as I look out, what I see is my brothers and my sisters, all a part of this great credit union movement. As we look down the road, there are bankers, politicians who say about us that we're only interested in the ROA and the bottom line. Far from the truth. Rather, it's about people. It's about serving the member, and we shall never forget that. And as we look at CIF and what a great fund it is, we today have a better means to go out and carry the credit union vision to each and every American, no matter how far, no matter how near. And so as with that, I challenge you to carry out that dream. And on that note, it's been a pleasure, and have a good evening. I thank you so much. Bye.
Congratulations, Carl, for all your contributions to the foundation. We wish you the most success with all of your endeavors. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the presentation of this year's Herb Wegner Awards. Just to put tonight in perspective, this year's honorees will be joining a very elite group of just 32 individuals and 14 organizations who have earned them this distinguished honor. Members of this group are the innovators of the credit union movement. They have worked tirelessly to strengthen credit unions and improve the lives of members. They've helped steer the course. They have helped promote and defend credit unions. And in doing so, they've made this world a better place for consumers. The recipients of the Herb Wegner Award are people and organizations that have and continue to make a difference. And so now, without further ado, let's start things off with the 2003 Herb Wegner Memorial Award for Individual Achievement. The video, please.
Imagine living in a makeshift home constructed of scrap wood, sheet metal, and cardboard. In your neighborhood, there's no electricity, no paved roads, and no sewage system. So your family lacks safe, sanitary water for drinking, cooking, and bathing, day after day after day. Known as colonias, a Spanish term for economically depressed communities, such settlements are found all along the U.S.-Mexico border. The largest area of concentration is in Texas, with more than 1,400 colonias and approximately 400,000 residents. Of most concern is El Paso County, where the poverty rate exceeds 31%. 41% of single-parent families have incomes below the poverty level, and 35% of households receive public assistance or non-cash benefits. If current trends continue, it's estimated that by the year 2010, more than 700,000 additional people will join the need for affordable housing along the Texas border. To some, these statistics represent impossible odds. To others, they're daunting at best. But to a small number of caring individuals, these statistics are a rallying cry, painting a picture not of poverty, but of possibility. One such individual is Rufino Carbajal Jr. Rufino Carbajal entered credit union life in 1976 as manager of the newly chartered Tri-State Wholesale Associated Grocers Federal Credit Union, which merged with West Texas Credit Union in 1998. As the CEO, Rufino manages a credit union with 3 locations, 34 employees, and over $35 million in assets. The credit union serves mostly blue-collar workers in the area's garment industry and residents of the Isleta del Sur Pueblo Reservation. Despite the challenges of serving such low-income members, Rufino looks outside of a credit union's comfort zone in finding new programs and services. He was one of the first to offer risk-based lending and individual development accounts in El Paso. He's added low-cost wire transfers through the World Council of Credit Unions International Remittance Network. And for members that live from paycheck to paycheck, he developed an innovative mortgage payment leveling program, a check cashing savings program, and a small loan program, all of which help combat local predatory lenders. Rufino also serves on his local chapter's board as board treasurer for the El Paso Credit Union Affordable Housing CUSO and as vice chairman of the El Paso Small Credit Union ATM Association. As a mentor, Rufino has provided much-needed assistance to more than half a dozen small credit unions. At the state level, Rufino advises the Texas Credit Union League in finding better ways to serve small credit unions. He also serves on the League's Educational Advisory Committee and on its Small Business Assistance Task Force. In 2001, Governor Rick Perry appointed Rufino to a 7-year term on the Texas Credit Union Commission, where he served as one of the 4 industry commission members and on the legislative committee. Among his national-level activities, Rufino has testified on behalf of CUNA before the Senate Banking Committee during a hearing on the unbanked. But Rufino Carbajal's volunteer activities don't stop at the national level. In 1995, he was asked to serve as a consultant, host, and trainer for 2 interns through the World Council People-to-People program for 25 Honduran credit union leaders. Rufino and his staff also provided technical assistance regarding credit union operations and computer systems, as well as an entire policy manual in Spanish for its Honduran visitors. A year later, Rufino was asked by the World Council and the National Federation of Guatemala to participate in a 2-week technical assistance assignment in Guatemala, where he presented a day-long business lending seminar to over 30 credit union managers and credit officers. One of the newest challenges undertaken by Rufino is in the area of affordable housing for Colonia residents and other underserved residents. He's made considerable strides in serving the underserved. Within its first year of operation, the El Paso Affordable Housing Credit Union Service Organization has already funded more than 25 affordable mortgages and counseled more than 120 members. It's developed a bilingual financial literacy curriculum for basic consumer finances, credit union history and philosophy, and mortgage readiness programs. And with special permission, it's translated NIFI's high school financial planning program into Spanish. Last spring, the El Paso Affordable Housing CUSO was awarded a $92,000 grant from the U.S. Treasury Department as part of a consolidated application from the National Credit Union Foundation for Credit Union First Accounts programs. And just last fall, the CUSO was included in NCUA's Access Across America workshop, along with other model credit union programs and government agency initiatives to serve the colonias. After more than a quarter century of service, Rufino Carbajal continues to provide members with new and innovative cost savings and asset building opportunities. Serving the underserved in the colonias has not only made a positive impact on his local community, but also provided a positive influence on international relations between the United States and Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, in recognition for his efforts in helping the underserved residents of El Paso, the National Credit Union Foundation is proud to honor Rufino Carbajal Jr. as this year's recipient of the Herb Wegner Memorial Award for Individual Achievement.
Thank you, Rufino, and congratulations. Now, each year, the foundation gives an award to a program or an organization that makes a difference in the lives of credit union members and consumers in the community. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you'll be pleased with this year's recipient for the Herb Wegner Memorial Award for an outstanding organization. Let's look at the video.
During the late 1990s, the Latino community in the North Carolina triangle of Raleigh, Durham, and Charlotte was under virtual siege. Language barriers, literacy issues, and other obstacles were keeping an estimated 75% of the area's approximately 100,000 Latinos from having bank accounts. Soon, muggings and robberies became commonplace. El Centro Hispano, a community-based organization dedicated to improving the Latino community's quality of life, responded by initiating talks with local banks to increase Latino access to safe, affordable financial services while building a community-based institution.
At that point, we really needed a place where Latinos could deposit their money in a safe place, a place where they could trust that institution, but also an institution that could be driven by the desires and the vision of the Latino community.
El Centro Hispano called upon State Employees Credit Union, Self-Help Credit Union, and the North Carolina Minority Support Center to help organize Latino Community Credit Union.
We needed to be part of a larger movement. The credit union movement is an international movement that its motto is people helping people. And we are so proud to have gotten so much local support in North Carolina. There's a very strong credit union movement.
This landmark credit union is the result of an unprecedented partnership that also involved the North Carolina Credit Union Network, the Carolinas Credit Union Foundation, and the National Credit Union Foundation. In less than 3 short years, the credit union has already succeeded in creating a complete package of financial products and services that are both accessible and affordable to its low-income members, including savings and loans, free check cashing, free ATM access, low-cost money orders, and wire services. Along with its success, Latino Community Credit Union has gained great national and international support. With funds provided by the Carolinas Credit Union Foundation and the National Credit Union Foundation, almost all of the credit union's documents have been translated into Spanish.
The most important thing is not the services that we provide, but the education that we can give to our members. 75% of our members, they never have had an account open in their lives.
With the help of the National Endowment for Financial Education, the Latino Community Credit Union developed a bilingual financial literacy curriculum and materials that can be used one-on-one with members or in a group setting. And with World Council of Credit Unions International Remittance Network, the credit union is able to offer cost-effective fund transfers to its members' families in home countries. In fact, this fledgling credit union leads the nation in remittances through World Council's increasingly popular program. Latino Community Credit Union has already met or exceeded many of its own goals. Membership. The credit union's original membership goal was 500 within 1 year and 2,000 at the end of 3 years. They passed the 5,400 member mark on their second anniversary, and today are well past 8,000 members. Deposits. Latino Community Credit Union projected $3.6 million in total deposits at the end of 3 years. After only 2 years, they had $11 million in total deposits, almost half of which came from its individual members. And finally, lending. Their goal was $2.8 million in loans outstanding at the end of 3 years. Not surprisingly, this goal was accomplished at the end of its second year of business.
We start with 2 employees. Right now we have 25. No one of them with financial experience, where people came from cleaning houses or working in construction or in hotels or in restaurants. We have people from 14 different countries, and they are doing a really good job. We have more than 8,000 members right now, and that's because the community trusts in them.
And Latino Community Credit Union is still growing. After experiencing a crime wave against Latinos similar to that experienced in Durham, and learning that 80% of area Latinos did not have bank accounts, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department was looking for help. That help arrived in October of 2001, when Latino Community Credit Union opened a second branch in Charlotte.
We work closely with community-based organizations, with the churches, and with the police department to bring the Latino Community Credit Union to Charlotte in October 15th of 2001.
Subsequently, in the spring of 2002, the credit union received a First Accounts Grant Award from the U.S. Treasury Department, personally delivered by U.S. Treasurer Rosario Marin. The grant will be used to open 3 additional branches before the end of 2003. The first of these branches opened in Raleigh, North Carolina in the fall of 2002.
We have been getting calls from all over the country about communities with similar challenges that we face here in North Carolina, trying to replicate our model, and we have been hosting delegations from many states in the country.
In dealing with larger societal issues, Latino Community Credit Union was one of the first financial institutions in the country to aggressively confront the challenges of serving members without valid Social Security numbers.
Our goal is to provide the financial independence of all our members, to provide affordable access to the unbanked individuals, to those who are documented or undocumented, in order to achieve the dream that we all are trying to achieve.
By offering interest and non-interest-bearing accounts and helping members obtain individual taxpayer identification numbers, the credit union has given other credit unions and banks a clear path to follow in their efforts to serve undocumented members. When they expanded to Charlotte, the credit union helped charter the Latino Community Development Center, a new statewide nonprofit corporation dedicated to fostering and supporting community-based organizations.
The purpose of the Latino Community Development Center will be to go into communities in North Carolina and organize the Latino community so there would be a place for expansion of the Latino Community Credit Union in the future, as well as strong social, cultural, and educational programs for the Latino community.
In the end, it's about the members. It's about people helping people to help themselves. Community members know that if they come to 201 West Main Street in Durham, more likely than not, they'll be helped in meeting whatever needs they may have. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Credit Union Foundation is proud to honor Cooperativa Comunitaria Latina de Crédito, Latino Community Credit Union, as this year's recipient of the Herb Wegner Memorial Award for Outstanding Organization.
Here to accept the award for Outstanding Organization is Board Chairman, Mr. John Herrera.
This is our family, very small family, a growing family. I hear that Buenas noches, señores y señoras. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's truly a pleasure and a great honor to be standing here before all of you. I hear some folks rumoring tonight that the credit union movement of the United States is developing kind of an accent, and I think the Herb Wegner Award demonstrates that tonight. But I will argue that the credit union movement had always had an accent, and it's an accent on people, an accent on community. And there's so many people that we want to thank you. I don't know if I'm going to look at my remarks or not, but I'm so excited, and you excuse me if I'm going to try to stay behind my time limit here. But on behalf of the Latino Community Credit Union, more than 12,000 members that we have today, the North Carolina Credit Union League, I really want to ask the folks from North Carolina who join us today to stand up for their incredible support. Larry Johnson, thank you for your leadership, the state of North Carolina. And the National Credit Union Foundation, thank you. Without your financial support and your leadership, we will not be here before all of you. There's so many people, all the credit unions who have helped us get to where we are today. We are here because of many people, and I want to especially recognize our board of directors. It's a brilliant board of directors that we have. Raise your hands, those who were with us here today. People are very humble. The people who work the hardest, the people who really do this not for the money but for the people, which is the philosophy of our movement. It's the staff, people who come earlier, the people who live late. We're open on Mondays and Fridays until 7 p.m. The door is open until 7 p.m. Our staff doesn't go home until 8, 9 o'clock when the last person in the line has been served. We have a very heterogeneous staff. We have more than 16 different countries represented in our staff. We speak more than 5 languages among our members. And it's a very diverse and heterogeneous staff, but very, very homogeneous in one thing, is its commitment to serve our members, the people that we serve every day. And of course, also, we will not be here without all of you. And I want to especially recognize, and if you are brave enough, I would like to ask you to stand up. All those credit unions and all those supporters who put a deposit in the Latino Community Credit Union, please raise your hands or stand up. I guess people don't, please. Thank you. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your continuing support. And I especially want to recognize all those who are credit union members and supporters of the credit union movement, because thanks to you, we're doing what we're doing today. But you should know that this award is your award also. The story that you just heard is your story. It is the story of how the needs of a community unites with local credit union leaders, with national credit union supporting organizations, and the international credit union movement to create a vision of ensuring that all individuals have access to affordable financial services. A vision I would personally like to thank Mr. Jim Blaine and Martin Eakes for sharing with us. I am proud of what we have accomplished by serving the Latino community, and I am touched also to see hundreds of African immigrants choosing to become members of the Latino Community Credit Union, reflecting our commitment to serve all peoples, not just Latinos. Our life has been more profoundly touched by Federico Núñez, who is in a way embodies the heart and soul of the Latino Community Credit Union, a victim of crime who took a bullet in his back and lost the ability to walk, but he did not lose his dignity or his hope to achieve the American dream. While we have been encouraged to see similar efforts in the new Latino credit unions started across the country in different states, Oregon, Kentucky, Washington, and California, these efforts are not enough. We need you. The credit union leaders sitting here this evening to reconfirm your commitment to providing individuals with a hand up. In this great country, we still have too many individuals that are victims of predatory lending and predatory sending, that are trying to provide for their families here in the United States and abroad. Serving our nation's 28 million immigrants, many of whose only forms of banking services are their mattresses and the check cashers, provides an excellent opportunity for all of us to reach out to individuals, but we must do so sincerely and with solidarity. I urge you not to believe skeptics that will tell you Latino immigrants do not trust financial institutions because of bank failures abroad. This is an excuse for not wanting to serve immigrants. Multiple surveys suggest that only 3 to 9% of Latino immigrants do not trust financial institutions, and that the vast majority will favor having a bank account. The reason most Latino immigrants remain unbanked is that many do not feel accounts are accessible for individuals of modest means, or believe they do not have the proper documentation to open a bank account. I want to encourage you to support a bill that is in Congress, Bill HR 773, that Representative from Texas, Hinojosa has introduced in Congress to take care of this issue. I would like to take just the last couple of minutes to address an issue that is close to my heart and at the forefront of our national agenda: immigration and the treatment of immigrants. The United States has not experienced immigration levels as high as it has to date since the 1930s, and every projection is that these levels will continue to rise. Most of us come from immigrant families, and our country, the great melting pot, is a system which will not function without the influx of individuals. Unfortunately, our country, the oldest democracy in the face of the earth, is now under threat. But as we defend our nation, we must remember the words of the former INS commissioner in the days following September 11th. Immigrants did not commit these brutal acts. Terrorists did. Thank you. The day we begin to associate these two groups together is the day our liberties will be at stake. We must make our vision and voices heard this week to ensure our congressional representatives know that we support a new immigration policy that will allow our workers and our members to improve their standard of living through earned residency status. Let's remember that in this world, there are not illegal human beings in the face of this earth. Every child that is born is a special creature of God and has the right to have a productive life and live with human dignity. You might be wondering how this relates to credit unions. Just think back to the beginning. The first credit union in the United States, St. Mary's Bank, was created by and for immigrants from Quebec that couldn't speak English and were seeking a form of self-help as they worked in the factories. Service to all individuals, immigrants, non-immigrants, citizens and non-citizens, is at the core of our roots, and we must never forget or turn our backs on this history. May the Creator of all living things bless you and bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, John Herrera. As you can see, it was a true partnership with all of the individuals and the organizations represented here on stage. Congratulations once again for the extraordinary work. Our final award tonight is for Lifetime Achievement. It carries with it special recognition of a career and a life dedicated to credit unions and their members. It's awarded to a person who has led the fight for credit unions both inside and outside of the movement. And I think you'll be very pleased with this year's selection for the Herb Wegner Lifetime Achievement Award. Please watch.
Edward Feline, Roy Bergengren, Dora Maxwell, Louise Herring. These are the names we traditionally think of when we hear the phrase credit union pioneer. But pioneers aren't found only in our history books. Some walk among us today. One such pioneer is Ed Callahan. His actions and ideas, his vision, and his extraordinary leadership are largely responsible for the credit union movement's strength and success as we know it today. A man like few others, Ed Callahan has served as a tireless warrior on behalf of the cooperative credit union movement. Flanked by supporters and critics alike, as with any great leader, he has led a dauntless, ongoing crusade on all fronts, saving credit unions from extinction, nurturing and expanding the concept of credit union membership, and furthering technological innovations for credit unions, as well as cooperative entities. Born into a family of modest means in Youngstown, Ohio, the cooperative ideal has long been reflected throughout Ed's personal life and career. Earning a full scholarship to Marquette University in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, he graduated with a bachelor's degree in mathematics and a master's degree in educational administration. For the next 25 years, he pursued a career in education, first as a teacher and coach, and then 5 years as the superintendent of Catholic schools in Rockford, Illinois. In 1975, Ed embarked on a career of public service, first as the Illinois Deputy Secretary of State, and then spending 4 years as the director of the Illinois Department of Financial Institutions. In 1981, President Ronald Reagan appointed Ed as chairman of the National Credit Union Administration, a dire period in the credit union movement's history. When Ed took office, 82% of the nation's credit unions were tied to sagging, occupationally based industries such as steel, lumber, and heavy equipment, resulting in credit union liquidations at a high water mark of 251. And to top it off, the National Share Insurance Fund's equity was a sparse 0.26% of insured shares at the close of 1982. Studies mandated by Congress raised the prospect of a loss of independence for the fund. In response, credit unions and the NCUA went into action. Under Chairman Callahan's leadership and vision, the NCUA reinterpreted the Federal Credit Union Act to permit a single credit union to serve multiple groups, provided each had its own common bond. To save the National Share Insurance Fund, Chairman Callahan and the NCUA worked with the credit union community to create a novel approach in which credit unions capitalize their own fund by depositing and maintaining 1% of their insured shares. The results? Monumental, to say the least. In fiscal 1983 alone, some 7,000 groups requested service and affiliated with nearby credit unions. By June of 1996, some 157,000 groups and over 10 million members were being served by 3,600 federal credit unions. Today, more than 328,000 SEGs are being served by credit unions in the United States. And the National Share Insurance Fund idea worked so well that Congress later drew on the same concept for the capitalization of the FDIC fund. Following his tenure with the NCUA, Ed Callahan brought his innovation and leadership to a new level, the local level. When he took over the helm at Patelco Credit Union, the credit union's primary telephone company membership was reeling from the deregulatory breakup of 1984. Under Callahan's guidance, Patelco structured a myriad of unique programs that helped affected members get back on their feet. Today, Patelco serves employees from over 1,500 mid and small-sized businesses, employees of neighborhood businesses that would otherwise be locked out of the credit union community because of their employment status. While the core foundation of Patelco's membership underwent change, the infrastructure shifted as well, growing from 8 freestanding branch offices to a group of over 125 service sites that include branch offices, mini branches, and credit union service centers. In the late 1980s, the telephone company relocated some of its employees to an emerging suburban neighborhood, resulting in a need for another credit union office. To serve those members, Callahan came up with yet another monumental solution, opening a shared office with another credit union that was already established in the neighborhood. This idea of sharing facilities was initially regarded with great skepticism by Callahan's peers. As more and more credit unions recognize the potential from working cooperatively on operations, Callahan and other California credit union CEOs formed the Credit Union Service Centers. These were satellite offices located in prime traffic areas where members of all participating credit unions could transact business in a single location. Ed Callahan has devoted countless hours working with other credit union CEOs, various state legislatures, and in the halls of Congress, personally overseeing efforts to defend and preserve credit unions from the banking industry's many-pronged campaigns of litigation and intimidation. In California, his fight was focused on a tax parity bill, AB 1413, which was passed and put into effect in 1999. His fight for support of the Credit Union Membership Access Bill, H.R. 1151, is also well documented. When the issue of credit union membership came before the United States Supreme Court, Ed Callahan was only one of a few credit union CEOs brave enough to put his name on a friend of the court brief. Although not widely heralded, Callahan and the rest of Patelco's staff are active in all cooperative industry circles. In 1993, Callahan instituted an Adopt a Credit Union program to small credit unions that serve low-income people in disadvantaged areas. And to top it off, Patelco is also known to offer lending support to credit unions that serve disadvantaged groups. Leadership, vision, innovation. These are but a few of the qualities that describe a pioneer. But it's one's actions, one's legacy, that ultimately defines a pioneer. Ed Callahan's actions and the legacy he has left for millions of Americans places him in our history books, along with the names of Edward Feline, Roy Bergengren, Dora Maxwell, Louise Herring, and many others. Ed Callahan will be remembered as one who made monumental differences in the cooperative credit union movement. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pride and sincere appreciation that the National Credit Union Foundation honors Ed Callahan as this year's recipient of the Herb Wegner Memorial Award for Lifetime Achievement.
I hope that's for the Ed Fund. There is a God. When my good friends unmasked the guardian angel, and he's out of the closet now, we know who he is, and he's the kind of person that ought to be up here. That was a great video, but it understates the fact that all of the things that Ed Callahan took credit for there, quite frankly, was just part of being a team member. I'll be remiss if I don't thank those dear loved ones of mine who put up with me all these years. Linda, my wife, and my family. I'm proud that my son Dan and Maureen are here. They've tolerated my weekends away and time gone and where's Dad this month and all that. And I look around the room and it's like, you all understand what I mean. We've all been part of this same thing together, and we know what that's all about. I have to tell you honestly, I really got a break. Try being a regulator for 10 years and ending up being CEO of a credit union. You think about that. I died and went to heaven. I've said this many times. But the board of directors of Patelco Credit Union took a gamble that a regulator just might be able to run this place. And they've supported me greatly, and they afforded me an opportunity to have the best damn management team you could ever want to have. Made me look good. In order to get that record, I had to be out of the office a lot, just so Andy and the team could get all these good things done. I stayed out of their way. And what was I doing? I was working with the greatest team of credit union CEOs and management you can imagine. The cooperative movement is so privileged with the multitude of things that have been happening in recent years. When I think of all of the partners in this room that I've been privileged to be part of, at this juncture, I want to make something very, very clear. This award is not about me. I'm privileged to be here and try and get everybody out of the closet that have worked so very, very hard doing things cooperatively. And it's only the beginning. I look at the new century and I think about the potential, and I think about this passion for working together that has enabled us to put our members in a position where their lives are so much better than anyone else participating in financial services. And we all know that this is true. And we haven't seen anything yet, not by a long shot. First and foremost, as far as I'm concerned, we're the best kept secret in the world. And I'm here to face you down and tell you, I remember hard times in the early 80s and all those things, but I'm here to tell you, every American has a right to belong to a credit union. And all that we need to do to make that happen is take this best kept secret and make it available to all Americans so they can know the real power of cooperation and what it will mean in the lives of them and their children and their grandchildren and all of us who go forward. And you think of the problems in the world today, what could be more valuable than cooperation for every American, and then extending this blessing to everybody worldwide. I say, God bless you all, I love you all, and God bless America.
Thank you, Ed. From all of us, congratulations both on the prestigious award and on the occasion of your retirement. We all owe you a debt of gratitude. So, to conclude, a wonderful evening. Let's have one more round of applause for all of the recipients: Rufino Carbajal Jr., Latino Community Credit Union, Ed Callahan, If you'd like to make a nomination for the 2004 Herb Wegner Memorial Awards, visit the Foundation's website at www.ncuf.coop. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed our Night with the Stars. Have a safe trip to your next destination. Enjoy the next few days of the Governmental Affairs Conference. I'm John Aneloro, and on behalf of the Foundation, its board, its staff, good evening.